The morning sky over Seoul turned dark as massive alien ships blotted out the sun. People stopped walking on the streets and looked up in fear. The ships were huge, bigger than any building on Earth. They moved slowly through the air without making any sound. President Kim Hana sat in the emergency meeting room deep underground. Her hands were folded on the table as she watched the news reports. Every major city on Earth had alien ships hanging above it like dark clouds. Tokyo, New York, London, Moscow, they were all the same. "Madam President," her assistant said quietly, "the alien ambassador is here." The doors opened and a tall figure walked in. It looked like a giant lizard standing on two legs. Its skin was green and covered in scales. Its eyes were yellow and cold. Behind it came two more aliens carrying strange weapons. "I am Ambassador Velthar of the Galactic Confederation," the creature said. Its voice came from a small device on its chest that turned its words into human language. "Your species will listen and obey." Kim Hana did not stand up. She looked at the alien with calm eyes. "We are listening." Velthar smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Good. Your planet is now part of our empire. You will give us 60% of everything you make. Your food, your metals, your energy, all of it belongs to us now." The other world leaders in the room started talking at once. The President of America slammed his hand on the table. The Prime Minister of Britain shook her head. The leader of Russia cursed in his own language. "Silence," Velthar shouted. The room became quiet. "You will also destroy all your weapons. Your armies, your ships, your guns, everything must be destroyed. Humans are too dangerous to keep weapons." "And if we refuse?" Kim Hana asked in a steady voice. The alien touched something on his arm. The big screen on the wall showed space, above Earth. One of the alien ships fired a bright beam of light at a large rock floating near Mars. The rock exploded into dust and pieces. "That was an asteroid," Velthar said. "It was 5 kilometers wide. We destroyed it in 3 seconds. We can do the same to your cities." The room was very quiet. Everyone could hear their own breathing. The weight of the alien's words pressed down on them like a heavy stone. "Your armies are like ants to us," the ambassador continued. "Your weapons are like sticks and stones. We have traveled between the stars for 1,000 years. We have conquered 100 worlds. Your Earth is just one more." Kim Hana looked around the table at the other leaders. She saw fear in their eyes. Some were already thinking about giving up. Others looked angry but helpless. "We fought wars among ourselves for centuries," Velthar said, walking around the table. "We know how humans think. You are violent and stubborn. That is why we will break you completely. You will have no choice but to serve." The alien stopped behind Kim Hana's chair. "You have 72 hours to decide. Accept our terms or watch your world burn. There is no third choice." "What about our people?" the President of America asked. "What happens to them?" "They will work for us. The strong ones will mine metals on other worlds. The smart ones will build things we need. The rest will grow food and serve their betters." Velthar's yellow eyes gleamed. "It is a good life for a conquered species." "You're talking about slavery," the Prime Minister of Britain said. "I am talking about reality," the alien replied. "You lost this war before it began. We have technology you cannot imagine. Ships that can cross the galaxy in days. Weapons that can crack planets in half. You have nothing that can hurt us." Kim Hana finally stood up. She was much smaller than the alien, but she did not look afraid. "We understand your terms. You will have our answer in 72 hours. Velthar nodded. "Choose wisely, human. Your entire species depends on what you decide." He turned to leave, then stopped. "Oh, and do not think about running away. We have ships watching every part of your solar system. There is nowhere to hide." After the aliens left, the room exploded with voices. Everyone was talking at once. Some wanted to fight, others wanted to surrender. Most were just scared. Kim Hana raised her hand for silence. When the room was quiet, she pressed a hidden button under the table. A secret communication system came to life. "Admiral Park Min-ho," she said quietly. "Are you receiving this?" A man's face appeared on a small screen that rose from the table. He had gray hair and tired eyes, but his voice was strong. "Every word, Madam President. The preparations are complete. Of them, every single ship, every weapon, every soldier, we've been ready for 20 years. Kim Hana smiled for the first time since the aliens arrived. Then we give them exactly what they asked for. The other leaders looked confused. They did not understand what was happening. But they would learn soon enough that humans had been preparing for this day much longer than anyone knew. Captain Lee Sujin floated in zero gravity on the bridge of her ship. Through the big window, she could see Earth getting bigger as they flew closer. The blue and white planet looked peaceful, but she knew alien warships were waiting there like hungry wolves. "Captain," her communications officer said, "we're getting signals from the Confederation fleet. They want to know who we are." Lee Sujin smiled. "Tell them we're just a small transport ship coming home." The alien ships had been watching Earth for 3 days now. Their sensors showed only one human vessel approaching, a tiny cargo ship that looked old and beaten up. To the aliens, it was nothing to worry about. "Signal from the alien flagship," the officer reported. "They're ordering us to stop." "Open a channel to their commander," Lee Sujin said. She straightened her uniform and walked to the center of the bridge. The main screen flickered and showed Ambassador Velthar's scaly face. His yellow eyes looked annoyed. "Human vessel, you will land immediately and prepare for inspection." "Actually," Lee Sujin said calmly, "I have a message for you from Earth's government." Velthar's mouth opened in surprise. He had expected fear or begging. Instead, this human woman looked completely relaxed. "Speak quickly. Your time is running out." "We have considered your demand for loyalty," she said. "You will have our answer in 7 days." The alien ambassador laughed. It was a harsh sound like metal scraping on stone. 7 days? Your deadline was 72 hours. That time is almost over. "You asked for our loyalty," Lee Sujin repeated. "That's not something humans give quickly. When we make that choice, it's forever. Surely a wise species like yours can wait 7 more days for something so important." Around Velthar, his officers were talking quietly. Some thought the humans were just trying to buy time. Others wondered if this was some kind of trick. "Your bravery is amusing," Velthar said finally, "but also foolish. We could destroy your pathetic little ship with one shot." "You could," Lee Sujin agreed. "But then you would never get what you really want." "And what is that?" "Our loyalty. Our complete surrender. Our total cooperation." She leaned forward slightly. "You don't just want to conquer Earth, you want humans to serve you willingly. That takes trust, doesn't it?" Velthar was quiet for a moment. The human was right. Slaves who hated their masters were always causing trouble. Willing servants were much more useful. "Fine," he said. 7 days. But if you try to run or fight, we will turn your cities into glass." The transmission ended. Velthar turned to his tactical officer. "Keep watching that ship, and scan the outer system again. I want to make sure they're not planning something stupid." Far away, beyond the orbit of Neptune, something was moving in the darkness. The alien sensors detected small energy readings, but they looked like normal space rocks or old satellites. Nothing dangerous. Lee Sujin walked to her command chair and sat down. Her crew was looking at her with worried faces. "Captain," her first officer whispered, "are we really going to surrender?" She touched a control panel and activated a secure communication system. The bridge filled with dozens of small screens showing faces of other ship captains. All of them were humans, and all of them were waiting. "Status report," Lee Sujin said. "Quietly. Fleet Group Alpha ready," said Captain Kim Daeho from his battleship hidden behind an asteroid. "Fleet Group Beta in position," reported Captain Park Yuna from her carrier concealed in the shadow of Jupiter's largest moon. "Fleet Group Gamma standing by," announced Captain Choi Min-soo from his command ship drifting dark and silent near Saturn. B. Reports continued. Ships hidden throughout the solar system. Weapons platforms built inside hollowed-out asteroids. fighter squadrons waiting in secret bases, an entire war fleet that had been building and preparing for decades. "The aliens think we're primitive," Lee Sujin said to her captains. "They think we just learned to fly between planets. They have no idea what we've really been doing." On the main tactical display, thousands of small dots appeared. Each one was a human warship. Each one was invisible to alien sensors. Each one was ready to fight. "Admiral Park Min-ho sends his greetings," Captain Kim Dae-ho reported. "The main battle fleet will arrive on schedule." Lee Sujin nodded. "Remember, everyone, we don't start shooting until they do. We're not the aggressors here, but when the time comes, we'll show them what human loyalty really means," Captain Park Yuna finished. Back on the alien flagship, Velthar was studying reports from his sensor operators. "Still nothing unusual?" he asked. "No, sir. Just the one transport ship and some background radiation. The humans appear to be helpless." Velthar smiled. In 7 days he would have another conquered world to add to the Confederation's empire. Humans would learn their place in the galaxy's natural order. He had no idea that in the darkness around him, thousands of human ships were moving into position. Ships with weapons that could crack moons. Ships with shields that could stop stars. Ships crewed by humans who had spent their entire lives preparing for this moment. The aliens wanted loyalty. They were about to discover what that word truly meant to humanity. The 7th day arrived with Earth's sun shining normally in the sky. Ambassador Velthar stood on his command bridge watching the small human transport ship floating nearby. In a few hours he would receive humanity's surrender and add another world to his collection. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting some unusual readings." Velthar walked over to look at the displays. "What kind of readings?" "Energy. Spikes throughout the system. Very faint, but they're everywhere. Behind asteroids, near the moons, in empty space." Before the officer could finish speaking, space itself began to change. A massive warship materialized directly in front of the alien flagship. It was 3 times larger than Velthar's own vessel, covered in armor that gleamed like black metal. Weapons ports opened along its sides like hungry mouths. "Where did that come from?" Velthar shouted. His answer came as more ships appeared. Dozens of them, then hundreds, then thousands. They emerged from behind asteroids that suddenly split, opened to reveal hidden shipyards. They rose from the dark side of Earth's moon where entire cities had been built in secret. They uncloaked from empty space where they had been hiding with technology the aliens didn't understand. "Impossible," Velthar whispered. "Our intelligence said they barely had spaceflight." The largest human ship was now close enough to read. Its name painted on the hull, Eternal Guardian. Next to it appeared another massive vessel called Sacred Promise. Then came Defender's Oath and Unyielding Dawn. Captain Lee Sujin's small transport ship was no longer alone. She was now surrounded by the largest war fleet anyone had ever seen in this part of the galaxy. "All ships report ready," came Admiral Park Min-ho's voice over the communication system. The Admiral's face appeared on screens throughout the human fleet. He was an older man with gray hair, but his eyes burned with determination. "Sir," Velthar's tactical officer said in a shaking voice, "Their power readings. They're impossible. Some of these ships are generating more energy than our entire fleet combined." On the view screen, human warships continued to appear. Fast. Attack ships that moved like silver arrows. Huge carriers that launched clouds of fighter craft. Battleships bristling with weapons that pulsed with strange energy. "How many ships do they have?" Velthar demanded. "Still counting, sir. Over 5,000 so far, and they're not just around Earth, they're everywhere. Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, the entire solar system is full of them." What the aliens were seeing was the result of 40 years of secret preparation. When humans first detected alien radio signals from deep space, they knew this day would come. Every nation on Earth had worked together in complete secrecy. The best minds had designed new weapons. The best builders had constructed vast shipyards in hidden locations. Now the true human fleet revealed itself. Captain Kim Dae-ho commanded a battleship the size of a small city. His ship, Terra's Wrath, carried weapons that could turn asteroids into dust. Captain Park Yuna's carrier, Hope's Light, launched fighter squadrons that moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. "Look at their formations," Velthar's tactical expert said with growing fear. "They're not random. Every ship knows exactly where to go. This level of coordination, it's like they share one mind." The human ships moved with perfect precision. They took positions around every alien vessel. They surrounded every moon and planet. They turned the entire solar system into a maze of overlapping defensive positions. "Sir," the communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the human flagship." Admiral Park Min-ho's weathered face filled the main screen. Behind him, the bridge of his ship hummed with quiet efficiency. "Ambassador Velthar, I believe you wanted to speak with someone in charge." "This is impossible," Velthar stammered. "You're supposed to be a primitive species. Where did these ships come from?" "We built them," the Admiral said simply. "Every bolt, every weapon, every engine. We've been working on this project since before you knew Earth existed. But our intelligence reports showed you exactly what we wanted you to see." Admiral Park Min-ho smiled coldly. "Did you really think a species that could split the atom and reach the stars would be unprepared for visitors?" Around the alien ships, human vessels continued their silent dance. Weapons that could crack planets were now pointed at every Confederation vessel. Shield generators that could stop the light of stars were powering up. "You wanted our loyalty," Admiral Park Min-ho continued. "You assumed that meant surrender. You were wrong." The space between Earth and its moon was now filled with human warships. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering and determination. One carried crew members who had trained their entire lives for this moment. "Shall we discuss new terms?" the Admiral asked politely. Velthar looked around his bridge at the faces of his officers. They were all staring at the tactical displays in shock. The mighty Confederation fleet, which had conquered 100 worlds, was completely surrounded and outgunned. For the first time in his life, Ambassador Velthar understood what it meant to be afraid. The humans had asked for 7 days to consider loyalty. Instead, they had used those days to show the galaxy what human loyalty really looked like when it was properly motivated. Captain Lee Sujin's voice echoed across every communication channel in the solar system. Her words reached not just the alien fleet, but every human ship, every space station, and every listening post throughout the galaxy. "You wanted our loyalty, Ambassador Velthar. Now let us show you what that word means to humanity." The demonstration began with a single human ship. The destroyer Kim's Resolve was small compared to the massive alien dreadnoughts, but it moved toward the Confederation fleet with calm purpose. 3 alien cruisers immediately changed course to intercept it. Their weapons powered up, ready to destroy what they thought was one foolish human vessel. "Fire!" ordered the alien squadron leader. The energy beams lanced out toward the human ship. They should have turned it into glowing debris. Instead, they passed through empty space where the ship had been just a moment before. "Where did it go?" Velthar demanded from his flagship. His answer came when the Kim's Resolve suddenly appeared directly behind his command ship. Its weapons were pointed straight at his bridge. The human destroyer had somehow jumped through space itself. "Phase transition technology," Admiral Park Min-ho explained calmly over the open channel. "We discovered how to slip between dimensions 23 years ago. Your sensors can't track what doesn't exist in normal space." Throughout the alien fleet, panic began to spread. If humans could make their ships disappear and reappear anywhere, how could they be fought? "Impossible," Velthar whispered. "The energy requirements alone." "We've had 40 years to solve those problems," Captain Lee Sujin replied. 40 years since we first heard your long-range communications. Did you think we spent that time playing games?" The second part of the demonstration was more direct. A Confederation dreadnought, massive and bristling with weapons, decided to end this show of human defiance. Its main cannon, powerful enough to crack a moon, charged up and aimed directly at Earth. "If we cannot have your surrender," the dreadnoughts, Captain broadcast, "we will have your ashes." The weapon fired. A beam of pure destruction streaked toward the blue planet where billions of humans lived. It never arrived. 17 human ships materialized along the beam's path. Their combined shields absorbed the alien weapon's full power like a sponge soaking up water. The deadly energy that should have burned continents was caught, contained, and harmlessly redirected into empty space. Our loyalty, once given, is absolute, Lee Sujin continued her broadcast. We protect what we serve, we defend what we love, and we never abandon our own. The aliens watched in growing horror as more human capabilities revealed themselves. Ships that could bend space around them, making distance meaningless. Weapons that converted matter directly into energy with perfect efficiency. Fighters that moved faster than light itself, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. Sir, Velthar's science officer reported with a trembling voice, their technology, it's centuries ahead of ours, maybe thousands of years ahead, but the most frightening thing wasn't the technology. It was the way the humans used it. Every human ship moved in perfect coordination with every other ship. When one vessel was threatened, dozens of others immediately moved to support it. When aliens tried to retreat, human ships were already waiting in their path. It was like fighting a single organism with thousands of bodies. How did they communicate so quickly? An alien tactical officer wondered aloud. The distances are too great for normal signals. The answer came from Captain Kim Dae-ho of the battleship Terra's Wrath. We don't need to communicate. When you truly trust your people, when you share the same goals and the same training, you know what they will do before they do it. A group of alien fighters tried to break through the human lines to attack Earth directly. They found themselves facing Captain Park Yuna's fighter squadrons from the carrier Hope's Light. The alien pilots were skilled veterans who had conquered many worlds. But they had never faced opponents like these. Human fighters that could phase in and out of existence. Pilots who flew like they were dancing instead of fighting. Weapons that seemed to predict where targets would be instead of where they were. In less than 10 minutes, every alien fighter was disabled or destroyed. Not a single human craft was even damaged. Surrender, Admiral Park Min-ho said quietly. Your crews don't need to die for this mistake. But Velthar was not ready to give up. All ships focus fire on their flagship. If we can destroy their command ship, perhaps their coordination will break. Every weapon in the Confederation fleet turned toward the Eternal Guardian. Hundreds of energy beams and missile strikes converged on the Admiral's ship. The attacks never reached their target. A wall of human ships appeared around the flagship, their shields overlapping to create an impenetrable barrier. The alien weapons struck harmlessly against defenses that seemed to grow stronger under fire. You still don't understand, Admiral Park Min-ho said sadly. There is no single command ship. There is no central weakness. We are all the command ship. We are all the fleet. Attack any of us, and you attack all of us. Velthar finally understood the horrible truth. He wasn't fighting a fleet of ships. He was fighting an entire civilization that had turned itself into a single weapon. Every human, from the admirals to the newest recruits, shared the same unbreakable loyalty to each other and to their world. The Confederation had asked for humanity's loyalty. Now they were learning what that really meant. The Confederation fleet pulled back to the edge of the solar system like wounded animals retreating to lick their wounds. Ambassador Velthar sat in his command chair, staring at the tactical display that showed thousands of human ships surrounding his forces. His hands shook as he prepared to send a message asking for surrender terms. The mighty Confederation, conquerors of 100 worlds, had been completely outmatched by a species they thought was primitive. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Velthar expected to see Admiral Park Min-ho's stern face. Instead, President Kim Hana appeared on the screen. She looked calm and peaceful, sitting behind her desk as if nothing unusual had happened. Ambassador Velthar, she said with a slight smile, I believe we owe you an answer about loyalty. We surrender, Velthar stammered. Name your terms. We will pay any tribute you demand. Kim Hana shook her head. You still don't understand what just happened. We don't want tribute. We don't want to conquer your worlds. We want something much more valuable. What? The alien asked, confused. We want to protect you. Velthar blinked his yellow eyes. Protect us? From what? From yourselves. From the hegemony that rules your confederation with fear. From the endless cycle of conquest and slavery that has poisoned this galaxy for centuries. Kim Hana leaned forward. You asked for our loyalty, Ambassador. Here it is. We offer our protection to any species that wants to live in peace. The screen changed to show scenes from around the solar system. Alien ships were approaching Earth, but these weren't Confederation vessels. They were smaller craft from dozens of different species. The Kethmari came first, Kim Hana explained as the images showed insect-like beings leaving their ships. They've been slaves to your Confederation for 200 years. When they heard our broadcast, they immediately asked for our help. More ships arrived every hour. The Zephyrians brought stories of their children being taken as tribute. The Velnari described entire planets stripped of resources. The Mordai told of forced labor camps that had operated for generations. All of them had one thing in common. They were tired of being afraid. Within the first day, Kim Hana continued, we had 47 species requesting protection under what we're calling the Sol Defense Pact. By the end of the week, that number had grown to over 100. Admiral Park Minho's flagship, the Eternal Guardian, had become a diplomatic center. Alien ambassadors who had never been allowed to speak freely now gathered in its meeting rooms. For the first time in centuries, the oppressed species of the galaxy had hope. Captain Lee Sujin has been very busy, Kim Hana said with amusement. Her ship is now our mobile embassy, traveling to worlds throughout this sector. Every planet she visits, more species ask to join our alliance. Velthar watched the reports with growing amazement. Humans weren't demanding tribute or territory. They were offering something the galaxy had forgotten, genuine protection, with no strings attached. But why? He asked. What do you gain from this? Peace, Kim Hana replied simply. Safety for our friends. The knowledge that when we sleep at night, innocent beings aren't suffering because we chose to look away. Captain Kim Daeho's battleship Terra's Wrath now escorted convoys of refugee ships. Former slaves were being relocated to safe worlds where they could rebuild their civilizations. Captain Park Yuna's fighters patrolled trade routes, ensuring that peaceful merchants could travel without fear of Confederation raids. The change was happening faster than anyone had expected. Worlds that had been under Confederation control for centuries were declaring independence. Slave camps were being liberated. Species that had been enemies for generations were working together under human protection. The Hegemony Council is furious, Velthar admitted. They're gathering the full Confederation fleet to crush this rebellion. Let them come, Admiral Park Minho said, appearing on the screen beside Kim Hana. Every species they threaten becomes our responsibility. Every world they attack becomes our ally. They're not fighting a rebellion anymore. They're fighting a family. And it was true. The Sol Defense Pact had become something unprecedented in galactic history, an alliance based on mutual protection rather than conquest. Humans didn't rule over their allies, they served them. Every species contributed what they could, and everyone received protection in return. The former Confederation worlds were discovering what it meant to be free. Children who had grown up in fear were learning to laugh. Scientists who had been forced to build weapons were now working on medicine and exploration. Artists who had been silenced were creating beauty again. You asked for our loyalty, Kim Hana said to Velthar one final time. This is what human loyalty looks like. We don't serve masters. We protect family. We don't conquer enemies. We make friends. And we never ever abandon those who trust us. The transmission ended, leaving Velthar alone with his thoughts. Outside his ship, the human fleet maintained its patient watch. They weren't attacking or threatening. They were simply there, like guardians standing watch over something precious. For the first time in his life, the alien ambassador understood what the galaxy could become if beings chose cooperation over conquest, protection over predation, and loyalty over fear. The humans had kept their promise. They had shown the galaxy what their loyalty truly meant, and in doing so, They had changed. Everything forever.